This is, as I said earlier, the Japanese or Eastern style stab stitch binding. This is a 4-hole stab stitch binding. And from here, again, you can take this to a whole nother level. There's amazing examples online and on YouTube of how to get even more complex stitching and binding, but with this as the basis, you know, the basic principles of stab stitch binding. So unlike the accordion file, where we folded and we had one continuous piece, here you have in your kit, you'll get 2 cover sheets. And I'm going to give you, this is tree pulp paper, lined paper. So in time, it may yellow and or adversely affect your cover paper because this is a plant-based paper cover. So I have about 5 or 6 sheets of paper here. Everything is separate. There's no taping like we did the accordion file, okay? So here's my paper. They're all single sheets, okay? So you're gonna put them together like this. You decide where you want the front to be and where you want the back to be. So do you want this to be the front or do you want this to be the front? Because once you put your stitch in, well, if I wanted this could still be the front. I just have it tied out. I guess it's not super important, but it's just good to know, you know, be actually that organized from the beginning. I'm gonna make the light side the front. Last time I made this in the example, I made dark. So the first thing I'm gonna do is you're gonna get some clothespins. Now, not everybody shows this on the internet. When you look at, I've looked at lots and lots of YouTubes, and I've done this many times with some fine book artists who showed me. But what I like to do is I like to score. And I came in to 3/4 of an inch. And the reason I score before I do anything, you can score after you bind, but it's just easier to do it now. Is it, see how nice the page folds? You want that. If it's not, it's real stiff and it doesn't open up as well. And then, like I said, with scoring, if you don't score, you can crush the grain. So I'm just going to very carefully measure a 3/4 inch mark. If you use centimeters, if that's what you're into, then whatever, closest to 3/4. Yeah, I'm not good with metric. My kids are, and you probably are, so sorry for not being that with it. Take your popsicle stick and score. And then, if you can, kind of just bring it up. And you'd get a little fold. And actually, you don't necessarily need all this together now. I was just, sometimes the score mark goes through the paper and it's easier to do them all. But anyways, you're gonna go through and score, okay? Your papers. So I'll just do some in the beginning and then I'll do it more afterwards, and I'll show you how you can do it afterwards too. So I just scored, and this is really thin paper, so I'm sure it's just gonna all go for me. And I'm just bending it, I'm not creasing it right now. Okay, and I'll do the back later. Okay, so now we have everything together. Now I'm gonna definitely put this on. In this project, you want it to be somewhat organized and even and symmetrical, okay? So right now, I'm just going to put my paper clips here so I know where they are. Now, okay, here's an example. You can add to your binder, to your stitch. This book doesn't have a cover, but I'm just showing you, I brought it so you could see how you can add. You can put beads inside here, like you can like put a string with beads in here and then wrap around, but I didn't want to get too complex, just showing you the stitch for the first time. But again, there's lots of fun things you can do with this. All right, you need to know where your holes go. So if this is my top, this is the top or the head of the book, and the toe, the base of the book. The inside is your codex. This is your front cover and back cover. This is your spine, okay? So the spine of the book. I need to know where my holes are going to be, and they can't shift around. So you're gonna make a template, and this will be in your kit, but you're gonna make it. So you put this even with the spine. And I had my paper clips nice and handy, so I could just slip this on. Okay? Now you don't want your holes to be too close to the edge, because they could rip. So this is a 3/4 inch, then 3/4 inch, 3/4 inch from the top to bottom. This is an aesthetic choice. So you can space, I wouldn't go less than a 1/2 inch, but you know, you can make this all different. Here, this is a 3-hole, and you can see they didn't even use thread, they used this straw stuff. And you know, they just have it kind of like that. So again, aesthetic choice, I'm kind of guiding you this way. So again, you're gonna use your ruler. I'm using inches, you can use whatever you want. I'm going to go in 3/4. Just because I like 3/4 because I like the length of the stitch. Is that 3/4 or is it a 1/2? Yeah, 3/4. So can't see anything. There we go. Time for new glasses. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to get my little thing out of the way. I mean, I could take this. You could do this with it before you attach it too. And I draw my line. So you don't have to have it attached to the book to do this. And then I'm going to go 3/4 inches down. And I make a dot. And then I like to keep it balanced, so I'm going to go 3/4 from the bottom and make a dot. You don't have to measure. If you like eyeballing it, be my guest. Go for it. I eyeball things a lot. And sometimes I'm right on. Okay. So you kind of look at it. Does it make sense? Does it look right? Because I'm eyeballing it. Looks okay. What do you think? Now, I'm just going to show you that I'm just going to eyeball it, I'm just going to, you could measure, you could split the difference, and it's a good math thing. Split the difference and then divide this into equal quarters or whatever. I'm just eyeballing it. Not that I don't like math. I think math is awesome. It's so conceptual and abstract. And I just sort of put my holes there. It's gonna look good. Now this is kind of the hard part. Normally, I have an awl. If you have an awl like in your toolkit at your house, you can use that. But I was trying to think, or a pin tool, like a pottery pin tool works. I was thinking, what could you have at home that would work, that's sharp? So I came up with this safety pin. So you have to be very careful. And you have to keep your finger out of the way. And you just have to work the pin through. Don't have your finger back there, because that would not feel good. Because it just jabs through. That would not, you'd be like, what? Go back through the back now. And get you want a nice wide hole. Make sure you come through the same hole coming back, and then kind of wiggle it. So you have a nice little hole like that. So then just go all the way back down. Don't, be very careful. Don't let this come apart. That's the most important thing you have to do right now, is to keep everything the way it was when you hooked it up. So I'm just gonna hopefully not kill myself. I'm just gonna kind of hurry this along a little bit. Oh, see what I just did? But I'm just gonna put it back carefully, because I was careful that it's just about the right. Then I'm gonna do this last one. When you hurry, things go wrong, and I'm going faster because this is a demo tape. But when I'm in my studio working, I take my time. I have some nice music going. Another thing what I do is I have like a journal or quick notes, because things come to me and I'll write them down. So maybe, I don't know if that happens with you, but it's really awesome. Sometimes it's a poem, sometimes it's just a word. So then I have my holes, okay? Here are my holes. Okay, now we need the thread. Okay. All right. Very careful that my paper clips are not, I'm gonna move them out of the way so that they're on the other side of the spine and the holes now. But I'm using them to keep my pages together, okay? Now, thread. This is binding thread. You wanna use something that's really strong. I don't think sewing thread that you might be okay, but this is specific. The reason I'm saying to use dental floss for you is because it's already waxed, it's cheap, and it's easy. So if you were here, I would do it this way. I would give you the binder thread, and I would show you how to wax your thread. The reason we wax our thread is because it pulls through the paper easily, and if it doesn't get jammed or snarled, and you don't want that to happen, because it takes enough concentration to get the stitch right. Then if you're all tangled up with this, it's kind of, well, it's just not as much fun. Okay, then you would thread your needle. So here is your dental floss. Hopefully I have enough. Now, how much do you use? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes, and this is the length of the spine. So you measure your floss, and I'll have this measured for you 4 times, since there's 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I always give a little bit extra tug. That much. Then you thread your needle. Hopefully I can get it the first time. Oh, I didn't get it. I didn't get it the first time. Let's see. I'm sure we can cut through some of this. Dang. Did I get it this time? Yeah, okay. There you go. Now, if you're worried about the needle falling out while you're stitching, you can like pierce the dental floss a little bit, and it'll lock it onto your needle, okay? But don't tie a knot like you do when you're sewing. Don't tie a knot. I'm just leaving it like that. But if you're nervous, again, you kind of come in here and you just pierce the middle and like that, and it should hold it. It might not with a dental floss. It does it with the binder thread. Anyways, here we go. Now to begin. You're gonna number, if you need to, you can very lightly number from the top of the spine to the bottom holes. This is number 1, 2, 3, 4. Your top hole is number 1, Your bottom hole is number 4. If you need to remember because you're circling it around, put a little T there or a 1 or something like that. Now, here we go to begin, okay? And I have all the directions right here. And I'm going to read them out loud to make sure I wrote them out right for you. What? Okay? So, top, you start from the back of the book in hole number 2. You pull your thread through, okay? And you leave a tail. Now, it might be helpful if you tape the tail down, which I have some tape here. Okay. So just very lightly, tape it down, okay? Now, so that was from the back through number 2. I'm coming back through number 2, and I wrote, start at hole 2 from the back, pulling through, and leave a 2-inch tail on the back, and you can tape it. And I don't want to cross and loop anything. Okay, now I have my first stitch. I'm in the front of the book. So keep the stitch snug and pull up. Don't pull this way or that way because you could rip the paper. Okay, and kind of keep things in line. All right, now from 2, I'm going to go to hole number 1. I go in through 1. Okay. And then you're going to move up to hole 1 and go through the front of hole 1, wrap around number 1 hole spine. I'm wrapping around number 1 hole spine. Give it a little tug. Oh. See why I have the paper clips? See how it's crooked? You want to keep an eye on that. You want your stitch to kind of come out straight, like that. And then tug up straight. Don't go like back or forth because you could rip the paper. Now, you're in the back of hole number 1. Okay, I said that. You should be in the back of hole number 1 in the book. Go over the top of the spine and come through hole number 1 again. I wrote that down. So that's what that means. Now be careful, kind of getting it. And you're going to start seeing a pattern. And what we're going to do is make these rectangles, okay? So now, looking at this, you should almost be able to not have to need the directions. But don't worry, I wrote them all. You're going to go number 2 again. Don't go number 2. You're going to go through number 2. Jeez. Beauty of. Okay. So now I'm in front of the book, through number 2. I'm going to go down to number 3. And then this happens all the time. Do 3. Guess what I do? I wrap around. And be careful. Watch here so it doesn't pull. Don't pull your needle, just gentle pulling. I'm watching the spacing. I'm making sure it's all kind of nice and neat. Okay, now here I am. I want to go, I'm in the back. Let's see, I'm on number 3. Wrap around the hole spine number 3. You're on the back of number 3. Thread through back of hole number 4. Bottom. No, I don't think I found that hole very good. See, that hole wasn't very clean, so what I'm going to do is, with my pin, come through and open it up again. Don't force the needle, it could break. And okay, clean that up. here. I'm going to go through them in the back of the book, coming through. I'm going to wrap around the top of the book, of the bottom. Oh, wait, did I make a mistake already? I think I did. I did. Okay. So if you make a mistake like I just did, I think I did, yeah. Oh, maybe I didn't, but I did. I'm just gonna come like this. Thought it was a mistake. I wanted to wrap around the spine, I believe. I don't know, let me read my directions. Here in the wrap thread, back loop will wrap around whole spine coming out the front of the book. Yep, so I made a mistake. I went around the top, but I just slid the string. Now I'm gonna go around the top and come out hole number 4. Phew, thought I made a mistake. It's okay if you make a mistake. Now you see the pattern? I'm gonna finish off here. Okay, and voila. So just review that where I made my mistake. Came through the back of number 4. You always wrap around the spine, then go around the top. Now this is how you finish, okay? I'm not going to go through any more holes. I'm going to take the needle and go under the bind of hole number 2. And then I'm going to take my tail okay? And I'm going to just tie a knot. Well, let me get the needle off. So I wrapped it around here so I could get a nice little tight finish. And then with this tail, you can either cut it short. This is where you can add beads. You just snug it up like that, and then just clip it. You can knot it again a couple times, or there. Hopefully the tape comes off okay, without ripping the paper. Now you can take all this off, and there's your bind. Okay, cool. Now, just to finish the scoring, see here, this one I scored, okay? I'll take my popsicle stick and score it. And you'll see this side, how it's more stiff. See the difference from where I didn't score to where I scored? And you can do this with I'll go through the sheets of paper, and you'll notice the difference between where you scored and didn't score. So now if you want, you can take this and score. And it just helps loosen it up a little bit. There you go, cool. And then you can take a stamp pad, you can draw or add a sticker or something fun, and mark the front of your book. This is my front. There's my T for top. Let's see what I got here. See if this is any good. Yeah. Cool, right? All right. Have fun. Be creative. Now, you can make this tall, wide. You just pay attention to the grain, scoring, your stitch. It came out pretty good. This one came out, I feel, a little better because I was going slower. I took my time. I measured. This was eyeball. This was measure. It looks okay. It's a little crooked, but whatever. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll be back with a couple more projects.